spill a bunch of knowledge. What I think about doing is rather than doing a presentation, I can actually show you guys exactly what we do in terms of an acquisition and how we build relationship with the key players in each market that we operate in, and how we get deals and how we win the deals and all that stuff. And then if you have any question in the process, you can definitely reach out to me, and you can ask in the chat. You can unmute yourself. It's going to be more like a dialogue rather than me presenting to every one of you, because we're all still learning. We're still learning. XSITE Capital, we started it in 2019, and it's been a learning process. And every day we're learning and evolving and twisting our tricks to make sure that we continue to be in front of these brokers and continue to grow. So 30 million, we're up to 107 million of asset under management after we closed Main Street. Again, that's just partnership. But the highlight of the evening is more about how do you win deals, right? And when we started this whole multifamily business, we had no clue what we're doing. We had no idea of who the stakeholders are, who owns or who holds the key to the cookie jar. We were just trying to figure it out. And then as time goes on, we realized that that 90% of all deals that get done goes through a broker. And then 10% goes through you going and doing mailers, right? So if 90% of the deals are done through brokers, why is a lot of us not building relationship with these brokers? Because if you have good relationship with brokers, they are the ones that are going to give you the deal. But before we even talk about brokers, there are a couple of things that you got to do first in front before you get in front of the broker. One of them is, you want to identify what you want to be in, right? What your goal is. A lot of people, want to buy multifamily, but some people don't know if they want to buy a 10 units, 20 units, 100 units, 150 unit, or they don't know what market they want to buy at. So the earlier you're able to identify your goal, the better it is for you to be able to streamline it to, okay, where can I go look for what I'm looking for, right? So I always tell people, define your goal, know exactly what you want. You want a Class A property, a Class B property, a Class C property, a Class D property, in what location, how much, how many they have, within your own network or within your own bank account or within your friends and family to deploy on a deal. Because if you say, okay, you want to buy a $10 million deal, you need to have about 30% to 25 to 35% of down payment on that property, right? So you have to know where your equity is coming from. So once you're able to get all those things down packed, you know your strategy, you know what you're trying to do, you have a reputable website. For example, we had a call with on our meetup a couple of days ago with Greg Dickerson. And he said when he got our invitation, the first thing he did was to go check our website. And when he saw that our website looked good, he was like, well, I'll give these guys a shot. I'll come talk at the meetup, right? So you want to have a reputable website that make you look like a professional, right? Again, all of these things are what you need to do leading up to you saying, okay, I've identified my market and now I want to find a broker that will supply me the deals. And then once you have all those things in place, now we can now go on to say, okay, how do we find the brokers in each market? Before I go in and show these steps that I take to find these brokers, does anybody have any question?
I do, actually. It's funny because a few of us here come from various different networks and educational groups. We have a chat. A few of us are in the Jerome Myers group, and there's a discussion today about branding, and it's always been interesting. When you're creating your brand, do you build it around yourself, Tenny, or do you build it around your website, whatever that name be? How do you tend to make that decision and choice?
So branding is going to be based on what you're trying to do, right? For example, XSITE Capital, we're not building our brand based on me. or based on Leslie or based on Julius. We're building our brand based on the problem we're trying to solve. And why did we come up with XSITE Capital? Why did we decide to pursue this big goal? It's because we discovered that in our professional community, our immigrant community, we observed that not a lot of us know about multifamily or how you can invest in multifamily, right? So what we decided to do is to be able to bring that opportunity to our communities. That's the main reason why we formed the company. Because if a lot of us are able to get our hands in this asset class, they will be able to grow their wealth as well. That is the fundamentals of our company. Now, for everybody is different. Some people just want to do it whereby they use themselves as the brand and then attract their, so it all depends on what your goal is. We actually had to get a brand strategist to help us create our voice. Because sometimes you might know what you want in your head, but you don't know how to communicate it to the community of people you want to impact. So we had to hire a brand strategist that could help us create our voice targeted towards the audience that we're looking to be able to serve. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So if nobody have any other question, I'm going to go right in and just show you guys exactly how I look for brokers. So there's two train of thoughts. One is some people like that because I mentioned earlier that 90% of deal goes to brokers and 10% goes to you doing mailers and reaching out to sellers directly. XSITE Capital, we've done all of them. We've bought a list of properties in a particular market, and we've tried to send mailers, and nothing worked. That one did not work. And what we decided to do is to go the broker's route. Now, when you go the broker's route, there are additional two train of thoughts. One is you go with, because you're just starting, you want to go with the broker that doesn't do big deals. That maybe do a 20-unit deal, 10-unit deal, 30-unit deal, and then maybe maximum is a 100-unit deal. Those are like the lower brokers. Or the other train of thought is you want to go with the best broker in the market. That means the brokers are doing the most volume in that market. When we sat down and thought about it, we were like, why do we want to go with the brokers that do the less? Why don't you just go to the brokers that do more? That is being recognized by the industry as the best brokers. All we got to do is reach out to them and tell them our goals and objectives. And then if they see that we're a reputable company that they can work with, then we can do business with them, right? So we went the other routes. Now, if you want to go the other route of the brokers that does less, there's a site that you can use. Let me share my screen so that you guys can see exactly what we do. I'm going to share my screen. Can you please give me an opportunity to share? All right. So who wants for me to help you who your brokers are? Who wants who have a market in mind that you've chosen as your market? Does anybody wants to volunteer?
Norfolk, Virginia.
Where? Norfolk?
Yeah.
So in Norfolk, Virginia, right now, you see here that only one broker came up on LoopNet, and you see there's a three units of multifamily. It says 3 multifamily properties. If we go in here, we'll be able to say, okay, who's the broker? His name is Leo Tom, right? So all you got to do in this regards is just to call Leo and say, Leo, I saw your property on LoopNet. I like the kind of property that you have there, but this one looks like it's small. I want else. What Leo is going to do is, okay, no problem. I'm going to add you to my list. If we have something that fits your criteria, I want to have a conversation with you. So it's important that you understand what your criteria is. I mentioned that earlier, because when you're having a conversation with these brokers, they want to be able to understand what you want, right? Because the kind of deal I'm looking for is absolutely different from the kind of deal everybody here is looking for. And these brokers know that, hey, Tenny is looking for 100 units or above, up to 40 million. Whenever I see something like that, I need to reach out to Tenny and say, hey, Tenny, you guys need to take a look at it. If they see that it's below 100 units, they don't want to call me because that's not my deal profile. So each and every one of you have to have exactly what you're looking for in terms of deal size and the price range that you're looking for, right? So for example, if you're looking for like 3 properties, these are just single units. So they are calling it 3 properties. You can just reach out to this guy and have a conversation with him. But we don't use LoopNet because I don't know if you guys are familiar. LoopNet is a place where deal goes to die. So when you're coming to LoopNet, you're not actually going to LoopNet to get deals. You're going here to find brokers. For example, who wants to give me another market that we can use? Since this one, we have just one.
Newark, New Jersey.
Where?
Newark, New Jersey.
Newark. How do you spell that?
Newark.
So in Newark, you have more, right? You have 5 units, 35 units, 15 units. You have a bunch, right? 8 units. You see all of these are smaller unit count, right? If these are the kind of deals you want to pursue, the broker's information is right there. Gary's, the phone number is right there. You just call them up and say, hey, my name is Jerry. I'm interested in buying a 20 unit apartment deal. And I saw that you have a listing on LoopNet. Can you send me more information about that? That is just you inquiring, introducing yourself. And then he sends it to you, you take a look at it and you say, you know what? This is not the best one. When you have something better, reach out to me, right? And then you start building the relationship like that. But again, this is if you want to deal with not the big players. We decided to work with the big players for each market. And the way I was able to find who those key players are was through what's called CoStar. Mm-hmm. So every year, CoStar recognized the best brokers for each market, right? What does that mean? It means that for all commercial properties for each market, CoStar look out for all the brokers in that market that are doing the most volume, and they recognize them, right? Now, as you can see here, you have the Power Broker Award. This is a reputable award that these brokers get that is not easy to get. You must be doing something outstanding in that market for them to give you this recognition, right? So why do I want to go to LoopNet when I know that these guys are here and I know that they are doing the most volume, right? For example, let's say we look at Newark again, right? Make sure they have Newark here. We don't have Newark.
No, maybe Northern New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay. You can do that one. For 2020, you can see here now for industrial, if anybody is interested in industrial, these are the key brokers for industrial. That means the guy with the most volume. I mean, somebody messing with my mouse. Here, these are the best brokers. As you can see, the top brokerage firm in the country, CBRE, Cushman, JLL, I don't know if these, Newmark Knight, those are top brokers across the country, right? And you can see here that we have all these key players. So for example, if somebody says, okay, I want to do industrial, all you just need to do is come here, grab this person's name, and then I'm going to share with you the strategy on how to contact them, right? But since I'm in multifamily, right, I'm going to give you guys an example of exactly what I did last week, right? And again, my company, we're like open book. We share all our secrets because there's no secret. All of this information is available online. All you got to do is reach out to these guys, and they're out there to sell. They're out there to sell deals. And one thing that you got to have in your mind whenever you're thinking about these brokers, all these guys right here, they are out for commissions. They are salesmen. They want to sell a deal. But in order for them to sell you a deal, they want to make sure that when they offer you the deal, perform. That means you have the equity to bring to a deal. You have the track record to close a deal. You know, you have everything it takes to be able to take that deal under contract and close onto it. Because if you're not able to close on a deal, that looks bad on them and that looks bad on the seller, right? But back to here, Baltimore, because I was in Baltimore last week. And before I went to Baltimore, I'm about to show you exactly what I did. This is exactly what I do for each market that XSITE Capital is in, right? So let's go to Baltimore. And then I was talking to Gonzalo just earlier, and I was telling him about me being in Orlando. I did exactly the same thing I'm about to show you right now. I did it in Orlando as well. And I was able to tour, I was able to meet, you know what, let me just show you guys Orlando one first. So whatever I'm showing you right here is practical, what I do on a daily basis. So for multifamily, these are the top brokers for multifamily right here, for Orlando. So what does that mean? It means these guys are the guys that are doing the most volume of transaction in Orlando, Florida. That means they're the ones that have the deals. So why do I want to go look for somebody I know that these guys are available for me to talk to them, right? And guess what? All I did was to send an email to each one of these guys and introduce myself. Hey, Brad, congratulations for being recognized at CoStar Power Brokers for 2020. That's a very huge accomplishment, even during COVID, right? My name is Tenny Tolofari. I'm one of the co-founders of XSITE Capital Investment LLC, and I'm in Orlando. I'm looking to tour some deals. Do you have any deals that I can tour in the next day or two? And boom, all these brokers sent me deals. And I toured deals with all of them. I met all of, the only person that I did not meet face-to-face was Scott. I didn't meet Scott because he sent Brad. What's going on with my mouse? So I did not meet Scott because Brad came out to meet me, right? And then here I met Jay and Kenneth with JLL. And then Shelton Grenade sent me his partner to for a deal. But all I did was I came on here, identified the top brokers for that market, and I sent them an email. I say, hey, listen, I want to tour a deal. So now a lot of people now will see this list and all they want to do is just reach out to the broker and, oh, give me a deal, right? But you got to revise the psychology. And what does that mean? It means that you got to give first. You got to give something first. Because a lot of people call brokers to take. They just want to take. But people don't think about, okay, what can I do broker first? And then this broker will think about me and give me something in return. So what we do is we send a congratulatory message, which is, hey, congratulations as being recognized as CoStar Power Broker. That is a give, because now you're making them feel good about their accomplishment. That's giving, right? The second thing I did was, hey, listen, I would like to tour a deal with you, right? If that's possible, that would be awesome. Or I say, hey, listen, are you available for lunch or for dinner or breakfast? Because I'm in town, I want you. And guess who is paying? I want to pay, right? That's another option. And the third option, which works like magic, is to bring a gift to them after the tour. It could be anything, you know. Scott Rami, he sent me an email because I gave him a bottle of Macallan 12. I say, you know what, I came to visit. Thank you so much for the opportunity to tour these deals. Here's a bottle of Macallan 12 for you to enjoy for the weekend. He said nobody has ever done that for him ever in his career. Somebody just came to tour a deal and brought me a present, because a lot of people just want to take from them, and they're not thinking about giving. right? So these are some of the strategies that we've implemented in these markets that will seem to be successful, right? Now, some people you give them gift or do whatever you do, it doesn't work. All you're looking for is just that one broker that you'll connect with that's willing to work with you and give you deals, right? Let me pause right there. Anybody have any question?
So this is Miguel. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, and I've tried to implement some of these strategies, and like you said, some have worked, some haven't. But I got to the point where I have quite a number of brokers that I'm reaching out to. So, what's your strategy for scale and recommunication? How many deals do you actually get to review? Like, how often are you following up, touching base, and keeping that communication line open? Are you calling them weekly? You know, because that my list it got a little big, right? And I'm constantly following up between them, investors, like loan people, right? So there's a bunch of people on my follow-up list. So I'm wondering, since brokers are probably the most important part, right? Without a deal, there's nothing. How often are you reaching back out, and what's your strategy there?
Before I answer that question, where's your market?
So my market is North Jersey, in particular the Oranges, Newark, and Elizabeth. So it's been growing as I get to meet brokers and meet people. You know, and they're like, hey, I have a deal a little bit out of your area. Are you willing to look at it? So it's been expanding slowly, but you know, as long as the numbers make sense, we're willing to take a peek.
And how often do you go on a tour with the brokers?
I've only been on 2 tours. One was we got to final offer on an LOI we submitted, and the other one was I was just recommended, you know, because I see this guy's name on a lot of different stuff. So funny enough, LoopNet, I see his name all over the place. So he had a tour, and I heard on somebody's meetup that I should just go visit the property just to kind of get in front of him and do the face-to-face. I've only toured 2 face-to-face.
Okay, how many brokers do you say you have on your list?
Probably up to 10 to 15, like between 10 and 15 right now.
Let's assume you have 15 brokers. And guess what? All those 15 brokers are trying to sell a deal. The number one thing that's your job. Huh?
I see the same deal often, sometimes by multiple brokers.
Yeah, so what I would recommend is you go tour some of these deals, even if you're not buying it, right? Because one thing is for you to be from afar and say you want to buy deals. Another thing is you being in their face and telling them, listen, I'm interested in this deal, and you ask them the right questions, right? At least that's what we do. We try as much as possible to be in front of the brokers and tour deals with them. Now, question about how often I reach out to brokers. I reach out to at least 5 brokers a week just to say, how you doing? Do you guys have anything we should be taking a look? So I make phone calls, send text messages, or send an email. Depending on how close I am with the brokers. There are some brokers that were so cool that we can just jump on a phone call at any time I have a conversation. They can call me at 8 p.m. in the night or 9 p.m. in the night, right? There are some brokers I'm not that cool with. I'll send them a text message or I'll send them an email, right? So as you continue to build this relationship, the closeness that you have with these different brokers is going to vary, right? So it all depends on the kind of relationship that you have. But I try to follow them. Follow up with them some of them every week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Tenny, you should be able to share. Sorry, I just took back the host for a minute, but now you're set up to share again.
Okay. Any other question?
No questions, but I made sure that I'm inviting you over next time with the McKellen 12.
It's all good, man. But now I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, moving on to, okay, now you got in front of the broker. The broker right now is feeding you deals. How do you vet the deal? You know, and it all boils down again to your criteria, right? Like, what am I looking for, right? So for example, XSITE Capital, one of our criteria when we're looking for a deal, we're looking for a deal that's in the A or B area worst case scenario, C area. You know, we're looking for a class B or C class property. We're looking for 1980s or newer. We're looking for a deal up to 40 million. We're looking for a deal that's in a good school district, for a deal that the median household income is $45,000 or above, right? Anything that falls below that, we're not looking at it, right? So there are a couple of tools that I use to vet a deal quick so that I can provide feedback to the broker. Because one of the things that the broker wants is feedback. Because the reason why, the title of this meetup is how to win deals, right? And in order for you to win deals, you want to be able to review a bunch of deals, provide feedback, and then the broker will be able to tune the kind of deals that they send to you, the kind of returns that you want. Once they know all of that and they work with you over time, they'll be able to say, you know what, I think this is a good deal for Tenny and his group. Let me send it to them and see what they have to say, right? But broker feedback is ridiculously important. For example, they sent you a deal, you don't like the deal. You say, hey, listen, Jerry, thank you for sending the Griffin. The unit count is ideal. It's 100 units and above. But unfortunately, the price point is a little bit higher than what we were looking for right now. What we would prefer is a deal that is at the price range that you're looking for, right? Now, they'll take that feedback and say, okay, that makes sense. Or if the numbers are not working, you say the returns are too little compared to what your investors are looking for. So let's look on to the next one. So it's very important you're able to provide feedback. So what we do is we provide what we like about the deal, what we don't like about the deal, and what will make the deal work for us whenever we're providing those feedback. So that's a very important notes that make sense to report to a broker when you're giving feedback. So now, how do we look at the deal? And then in a couple of minutes, we say we want to pass on the deal or we want to take a look at the deal. These are some of the tools that we use. The first one is Neighborhood Scout, right? So Neighborhood Scout, I'm not affiliated to them. You can see here, XSITE Capital, we're subscribed to it. Let's assume I want to look at a deal. Let me look at the view. This is the property that we bought in Columbia, South Carolina. So I'm going to take this address and I'm going to pop it right here. So this tool is going to produce a report. Again, this is what we do. This is what I do when I'm reviewing deals so that I can provide this feedback to the right? Or I'll be able to say, okay, this is a deal that we take a look at, right? So I'll unlock this report. While that is loading, okay, it's ready. All right, so I get this report. I'm going to pull it up. You see here, it says that median home value is $207,000. But what I'm looking for in this metrics, to be honest, initially is to look at the median household income, right? You see here, the median household income right here is $44,000, right? Which is close to $45,000. So when we bought this property, this is one of the metrics we looked at. You say, okay, what is the median household income here? If this income was like 30,000 or 25,000, we don't want to go there. We don't want to mess with it at all, right? I come down here, I look at this, the crime, right? Is the crime index 1 of 100? What we've observed with Neighborhood Scout is if it's like from 16 and above, it's pretty good. Neighborhood is pretty good, right? And then we look at the school. You can see here that the school here is above. We have 6, 5, 3, 3, 5, 4, 5, 4, right? It's like average and about average, right? It's not the worst and it's not the best, but it's an okay area, right? And then another tool that we use is called ROE indicator. ROE indicator helps us exactly where the property is located, if it's in the A, C area, right? But again, these tools are not 100% accurate. Real estate is really, really hyper local. That's why it's important to have a team in place, like a property management company in your located market. They'll be able to tell you exactly. So our indicator says in a C location, right? You see here you have B and C location, right? It shows that this property is in a C location and it's surrounded by A, B, 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 and then we have a on the side, right? So we look at all of these things and say, okay, if this property is located in a lot of A area and B area, that means it's called path to progress, right? That means with time, this whole area might change to area, which is A and B area, right? So those are some of the things that we look at. Another metric that we look at is I look at best place. And I put a zip code. And here it tells me how much the income is. You see here, it shows me that the income is 38,000, more than what we want. But Neighborhood Scout is saying it's $44,000 median household income, right? So now this is when you have a conflicting information like that, like, which one do I go with? So, okay, maybe this property is looking a little promising. Let me call my property management company and verify the location of this property if it's something that's good to take a look at, right? And then another tool that we have that we use is Page. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Real Page. It's a pretty expensive tool, but it's a little bit more accurate. For a starter, it might not be a good investment if you're just starting, but as you continue to grow, it might be one tool that you might want to put in your arsenal. For example, this same property that I just showed you guys, you see here, he's telling you that the property is a Class B property, right? That means it's in a good location, right? So a lot of information that you can use, data. Some people use Yardie Metrics, some people use CoStar. We reach out to our property manager to give us CoStar report. So again, these are all the things that we do on the back end to vet a deal before we go back to the broker. And we like the deal, Does this make sense? Any question?
So one question here from Mark Wisey. How often are you visiting your target market?
So when I have a deal that I like, I go to the deal. So the reason why I moved to Charlotte is because I want to be close to the market, right? For example, I was in Colombia 2 weeks ago. We had a deal that we had LOI accepted on, but unfortunately we lost the deal. But I was there like back to back because I went there initially to tour the deal, and then it was looking promising. We submitted an LOI, the LOI got accepted, and then we went doing due diligence on the property, right? And before I went for the due diligence, I thought 4 other deals. I submitted 3 LOIs on Friday, actually on Saturday. But before I submitted those LOIs, I'd already in Colombia already, right? So again, a lot of sense to have a boots on the ground, and it makes a lot of sense to visit the market at least once and have a face interaction with the broker, have lunch with the broker, have dinner with the broker, so that they see how serious you are when it comes to your acquisition. Because guess what? A lot of people are calling these brokers every day from different part of the country, from East Coast, West Coast, everywhere. So what you separate, what was that benchmark that would tell this broker that, hey, this person is better than this other person? Some of the differentiating factor, you them, calling the deals with them, following up with them, providing feedback, and then with time, again, this doesn't happen over. You're gonna be aggressively patient when it comes to looking for deal through brokers, because they don't know who you are, they don't know if you'll be able to perform, they don't know anything about you. So it takes a while. Actually, I was really frustrated with the whole process. Honestly, I'll be honest with everybody. When I say frustrated, I was really frustrated. I was pissed because we were looking at so many deals and we were not winning anyone, right? I got on with my partner, Leslie. I'm like, dude, what are we doing with our underwriting? It looks like we're not doing something right, you know? And again, he mentioned like, you know, numbers don't lie. There's nothing you can do about the numbers. The numbers work to work, you know, until you find the right deal, you know. And we found a couple, like the one that we lost the LOI because somebody just came from somewhere else and offered the ridiculous amount. You know, the numbers worked. There was no miracle. Like you put the numbers in the underwriting, you underwrite the deal, the returns are there, the numbers work. You put in the offer, broker, the seller accepts, and you move on to the next steps, right? So again, you got to be aggressively patient, but the time to start that conversation is yesterday. Because the earlier you start the conversation with a broker, the better, because you now start building a relationship with them.
Hey, Tenny, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So you showed us some really cool things that are kind of do a very high level review. How long do you typically do you spend on something that comes in from the broker by the time you get the email, you look at it, you go through your sites, you see if it's a good fit, and then you email the broker back?
So these are the steps when I see something. For example, there are a couple of ways these deals come through. One is through when you go to the broker's website. For example, now I already showed you all that, you know, the top brokers for a particular market, that's how you find the top brokers. They have their companies right there. You can go to their company website and register your email that, hey, I'm looking for this kind of deals. Yeah, I'll get back to that. You go to that website, you fill in your information and tell them the kind of deals you're looking for, right? An automated email comes out whenever a deal that fits your criteria comes out. Once they launch a deal, you get an email. That's one way, right? Another way you get deals is you call up the broker and say, hey, James, you know, what's going on? How you doing? Anything for us to be taking a look at? James, like, we have a deal that's coming to market. You can take a shot at it. Just take a look at it. It might be coming to market in another day or two, but just take a look at it, right? That's another way you get a deal. Another way you get a deal is the broker just know that this guy is the guy that this deal matches. Here you go. You take a shot at it first before we bring it to anybody else. We have an opportunity to take a shot at a lot of deals like that. Sometimes we don't know, the broker will say you're the first person that's taking a shot at it. Sometimes that's not true, but they'll tell you that you're the first person, right? So it all depends. Does that answer?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I think we have some questions in the chat.
Yeah, so Garrett is asking, how many LOIs are you roughly submitting monthly?
So our goal in my company to submit at least 2 LOI a week. At least 2 LOI a week. So we're looking at 8 LOIs a month. Sometimes we come short of that. And again, now there's there's 2 train of thoughts for LOIs, right? One of them is submit as many LOIs as possible, even if you don't want to buy the deal, so that the brokers will see that you're serious. That's one. The other one is submit an LOI on a deal that you know you want to buy. Before XSITE Capital submits an LOI, we want to buy that deal, right? But our goal every week is to review about at least 10 deals and underwrite 5 of them. What does that mean? It means that those 10 deals meet our criteria, meets some of these benchmarks mentioned, and then I'll be able to go in and send it to our underwriting team to underwrite at least 5 of them. That's our goal. And then in each week, we want to make 2 LOIs. At least for last week right now, we submitted 3 LOIs. This week that's coming, we're looking to submit like 2 LOIs this week. So it all depends. But our goal is minimum 2 a week.
And then how many of those deals are I mean, roughly,
the percentage of deals you're offering on, are they off market, or all of them are, marketed to everyone out there?
So again, it all depends on the relationship we have brokers. So I have a couple of deals that I've seen before it came to market. That means I'm willing to put in an offer, but the seller wants it to come to market because they like the competition. But there's some who want to bring their deals to market. So there's one deal that got me sick because I got the deal before they even started talking about, before the old one was ready. I already got the numbers for the deal. I already on the road the deal. I already have a number. And I was begging the broker not to bring the deal to market. Like, I haven't been out with a broker. I said, listen, just call the owner, tell them that we're going to buy the deal. They don't need to bring it to market. He said, okay, I'm going to make the call. He made the call. The seller, no, I want to bring it to market. There's nothing I can do. There's another deal that with the one deal I mentioned that we submitted LOI on last week. The same thing. They brought the deal to us. We're on the road the deal, know where our numbers are. I said, listen, can we preempt? They call it preempting. Can we preempt on the deal before it comes to market? No, the seller wants to bring it to market. There's nothing you can do. So it all depends on the relationship we have with these brokers. We have a deal right now that's off market. Nobody knows about the deal. The broker just sent it to us and say, listen, take a look at this deal. He doesn't have his own BOV. That means broker opinion of value. He doesn't have it yet. So we and him are going to work together to come up with a BOV and go to the seller and say, this is how much a property is worth. Right? So that's a complete off-market deal, right?
Have you guys had a lot more success purchasing off-market deals than deals that have been marketed out there to everyone?
I would say yes, we have more success with also market. The competition is fierce. It's just ridiculous what happens out there. Better off, one of my mentors said, a bird at hand is better than 1 million in the bush. They're telling you that you can get it off market while you just pay premium and get it and avoid the competition.
Right.
So.
Hey, Tenny, a question for you.
Sure.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about underwriting deals and making offers and such. And one of the things that we always put a particular emphasis on and is very important to underwriting is the exit cap, the reversion cap. And I'm just wondering what maybe rule of thumb or what you utilize right now in an ultra competitive market to ensure that you're being conservative, but still kind of in the running on some of these deals. Are you taking some kind of rule of thumb of adding certain basis points per year, or how are you looking at that metric?
So I don't know if you were on our meetup on Monday. Greg Dickerson said that you don't acquire property using cap rate when you're acquiring it. So there's a whole lot of conversation about cap rate. Honestly, some people say, you know what, right now you want to keep the entry and exit cap rate flat. You buy in at 4.2, leave it at 4.2, and exit at 4.2. But what we do is we increase our cap rate about 0.25 basis points, at least. Before we used to do it 0.50, 0.05, but now we're trying to reduce it to 0.25 because of how tight the market is.
Okay.
But at least you want to make sure that your exit cap rate is a little higher than your entry cap rate.
Yeah. So if, for example, the current cap rate for this particular asset class is maybe 6% in the market that you're looking at, you would increase it over whatever your hold period is to 6.25%, for example.
Exactly. But I don't know what market you're looking at when you have 6 cap rate.
No. I'm just using easy numbers.
Excuse me. But yeah, any other question?
Your question for you is your team. Are all of you working on this full time? And if so, or if not, how do you break up responsibilities within your team?
Oh, no, we all have jobs. We all have full-time jobs. I'm blessed to be a global consultant where I can work from anywhere. I can be in a site doing it while I'm working. I can pack my bags, sell my house, and move to wherever I want to move to. So, it's a blessing. I'll be honest. But how we did it and how we figured it out earlier is we understood our strengths, right? Like when we started the company, Leslie wanted me to do underwriting, and I told him I don't do underwriting. I don't want to mess with that spreadsheet. I don't want to do it. So we had arguments, serious arguments about, dude, you need to understand the fundamentals. I say, yes, I've read the books. I've gone to the seminars. I understand the fundamentals, but I'm not underwriting. And we got to a point where he realized that, my strength is more building relationship with some of our key players, our property management companies, the bankers, the tax guys, the insurance guys, the key principals, this kind of relationship, those are where my strength is, talking to brokers and making them feel good and all of that, right? I'll bring the deal. I told them, as long as you guys want me to go, whatever we want to do, just let me know, I'll go get it. Like all the speakers that we had in our meetup, that's my responsibility. To go reach out to Craig Dickinson, to Neil Bauer, to Dan Hanford, to all of them. It's my responsibility to go look for them. Kyle Misher was going to be coming on our meetup to talk about asset management, right? It's my responsibility to reach out to him. So anybody we want to bring on our platform is my responsibility as well. So that's my strength. Leslie's strength is more on the operations side of things. He's more on the writing side of things. He wants to look at all those numbers and all that stuff. And they'll tell him, go do it, right? And then our partner, our CEO, Julius, his strength is more, having that high level conversation with our key investors. He does the investors relations. He has a network of physicians that want to invest in our kind of deals and all that stuff. So that's a strength. We'll let him do that, right? So what we've observed is the thing that we don't have strength in, we just, pass it on to the other team members to take care of it. So that's really helped us a lot. If it was just myself, I won't be able to do this, honestly.
Any other questions?
Tenny, as somebody getting started in syndication, it seems like what we always hear is like the first deal is always the most difficult. I'm just curious about your thoughts on that. If things get a little bit easier after the first deal, relatively speaking.
Honestly, it's the same thing, man. It's hard. You just have to keep going through deals, man. We closed our deal a deal in April. The other one that we closed in September 1st, that was a partnership. And it's been hard to find another deal to that pencils that, the offer got accepted and we go through the process. Everybody says the first deal is always the hardest one. Every deal is hard to find right now in this market, honestly. But again, if you close your deal, you close your first deal, you have a track record. You have a track record now. You can say, hey, listen, I've done this. My name is on this deal. This is what I've done. This is what I've done. So, for example, if anybody's on this call and they just want to start, what I was 100%, this is what we did. You invest passively first on a deal. Now you can have a conversation with broker and you say, listen, I invested equity on X deal. That's first step. Second step is you become key on a deal, right? Now you can have a broker and say, I'm part of ownership of that deal, right? Your track record. And then the third step is you go become your own deal. If you know that you are comfortable, you can do it. Then you go buy your own deal. But a lot of people, they try to they want to buy the deal themselves, especially if you want to buy big deals. Not that it's not possible. It's possible, but how do you share with the brokers that you have a track record? Because the brokers, for them to take you seriously, they want to see that you have a track record, that they see that you're doing something. Because they don't know, what track record you have in the past in the space. So if they have two buyers, for the one that have the track record to close, that knew that they don't know from anywhere. Because if they go with you, they're gambling. They're like, okay, we just want to give this person a shot. Now, for them to give you a shot, there has to be a reason. They like you, or what is the reason why they want to go with you? So you got to build that track record.
Thank you.
And the reason why we lost the deal that I mentioned that is accepted our LOI, the one that did due diligence on, the reason why we lost that deal was because of track record. The person that stole the deal from us came in, I would not say he stole the deal. He he won the deal from us. He has a track record of developing land. XSITE Capital doesn't do land. The seller wants somebody that can buy the apartment and the land together. And we don't have track record of building land, right? So he was like, the person is going to give me 19 million. He's going to buy the apartment for 17 and 2 million for the land, and let me give it to these guys. XSITE Capital just want the apartment. I don't want to mess with these guys. So that's how we lost the deal. I'm being 100% transparent with everybody now.
Yeah,
Appreciate the honesty.
that's awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Tenny,
We're
we're
at 8:03, right?
take
So-
too much of your time.
That's a lot of the nuggets that I have. If anybody want to reach out at any point in time, I'm on LinkedIn. My company is XSITEcapital.com. You can reach out to any of us at any time if you have questions. Like you can see, we're open book. I didn't want to just come up with a PowerPoint presentation and come and talk at you guys. I wanted to show you guys exactly, if you want to do this, how you do it. And this is everything I showed you all is what I do on a daily basis. When I want to review, when I get a deal, when I want to find a broker, I don't go any other routes. I go to that CoStar Power Broker, I find who the hell that person is, get their name, get their email, phone number, call them or send them an email, and then guess what? Somebody will reply. If you have 10 people on that list, at least one person will reply. That's all I need. I don't need all of them to reply. So, but Jerry, thank you so much for having me. There's no other question. I'm gonna head out.
Yes, appreciate having you on. That was awesome. Learned a lot. So actually, while we were on, I actually hit up a couple of those brokers from the power list on their LinkedIn. So hopefully that starts it off. I appreciate it. That was good stuff.
And immediately they connect, send them a congratulatory message. A lot of them will be amazed. I'm like, wow, thank you so much. I can share you, I can give you guys I can show you guys exactly how the Churchill deal, the view that I showed to you guys, how it started is exactly that same strategy. I reached out to LinkedIn, he connected, I sent him a congratulatory message. We went back and forth. I asked for a meeting. I drove and met with him, and he said, I'll give you a deal. It took 6 months before he gave us a deal. But guess what? It started with everything I just showed you all right now. All right.
Good stuff. Tenny, appreciate having you on.
No problem. Thank you so much. I'm glad I'm able to, add, some nuggets here and there. Again, we're still learning and growing. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.